This thing is loud. My aunt, who's like about 2 football fields away, could still hear this thing while I'm in the house. And like she'll hear it if she's outside. She'll hear it. You know what I mean? Like so, it's loud, right? So even if you have to once in a while go do it, find a place where you can lug your amp to, spend an afternoon just maybe jamming with the guys or whatever. That'll tell you a lot, but you really want to do a lot by yourself too before you get with the band, because the drums, when you go and you hear that right, and that guy hits the cymbal just as you do that, you're not going to catch it live, or you're not going to catch it in the jam. But you go play that live, now you're through a PA, and the PA is telling you everything honestly, how good your guitar is set up, how much it buzzes, how good your fretwork is, how clear your notes are, how much your notes, like every guitar is going to have a dead spot on the neck, regardless of how much you can pay $1 million for the guitar. There's going to be one fret that's not as optimal as all the rest. Every guitar. But to what level? Some guitars will be like, fine. Another guitars will be like, almost like that, right? So usually with the better guitars, you don't have to worry about that. But you won't catch that stuff in the band mix as much. But you will catch it when you go live and you put you through the PA and you got 2 monitors there. I know the people play in-ears now, whatever. That's all the rage, and they get rid of stage monitors, all good. But that's people that are making big money, like guys like myself, who we'll be lucky if we get paid $50 each. You know what I mean? Like your beginner bands or weekend warrior bands, kind of party rock bands, they're going to be out there playing through. There's going to be floor monitors and stuff like that if they're lucky, right? And that's going to be coming back to them, and then suddenly they're going to hear all these weird notes, and it's going to throw the bass player off. Or you're going to have the guitar player with the Eddie Van Halen sound. Nothing wrong with Eddie Van Halen sound, but the Eddie Van Halen sound that most people play is not Eddie Van Halen sound. It's like the Yngwie Eddie Van Halen sound. Too much reverb. It's what I call the guitar room sound, right? Where because you don't have the band there, you want a little bit more fullness, whatever. They got too much reverb, way too much delay. They get on stage and they start doing something like this. Right, but the drummer, the bass player's here. Like this delay, right? This delay coming through the monitors that you don't really pick up on because you're used to it. So now when the drummer's supposed to hit, now he's hearing the guitar going. It's like, whoa! It throws everybody off. I found that out live. I was sitting there and I was like, forget what song it was we were doing, but anyway, I was sitting there jamming away on the beat. I remember it was just on the B chord, and I could hear that little, whatever. And the drummer didn't seem to throw him off too much. But after the song ended, my bass player Dave's like, Reg. He goes, dude, he says, can you do me a favor? Can you turn your delay down a bit? He goes, it's really messing me up through the monitors here. And I went like that. And that's what they hear. So, like you're on this chord now, and suddenly they're hearing the last chord still reverberating. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, so I turned it down a bit. Now, a little bit more, a little bit more. It's like it was almost all the way off. So then I was like, well, I noticed myself because now I couldn't hear the delay coming through the monitors, right? And suddenly I was like, holy shit, we sound so much cleaner. It's not. So I started taking down my reverbs, started taking down my delays. Now I don't play with delay. Stereo course can do it too. The stereo course will give you a bit of a delay if you play fast enough. Like if you do something, you almost hear like a doubling effect, right? Because it's what stereo course kind of does. So it sounds great for the rhythm, but sometimes that'll throw you off. But during the solos, it doesn't matter as much, right? Because the solos are the solos. So that's the things that I noticed live years ago. So now especially when you get into a room that's big and it's very echoey, I pretty much shut my reverb right off. And it's weird to get used to that, but as soon as you shut that reverb off, you hear every freaking mistake you make. Right? You hear every mistake you make. Because now there's nothing masking it. It's not just going into the abyss anymore. So, you want clean, and you getting Now you can hear that, right? So try to play as clean as you can. You can always add stuff in the solos, and if the song's like, really like, like a, there's a little bit of delay on, that don't matter. Everybody can keep up with that. But for the fast stuff, take the delay off, especially the gallops. It's gonna be it would be all over the place. It'd be ping ponging all over the place. So that's things. Clean yourself up live. The louder you get, the less you need. And the louder you get, you got to be careful with your mids. There is a sweet spot for the mids. Every amp has a sweet spot. It's never 10. It's never on 10. Just keep that in mind. I guess I'll leave it at about that. So this is going to be my kind of live setup. It's an old rig, but it works. 1991, 2005, 2004, 2003. So I do need a new amp. But I do love the sound of that the tubes. And the tubes, you really don't get it until you're at a louder volume. It's usually when you're doing something like something like that that's really cutting in there. And you'll hear you'll actually hear the tube sound, the vacuum tubes. You can hear them once you isolate them with your ears, but it takes a long time before you do. But once you do once, it's like anything. Any problem you ever have, once you hear it once, you can never unhear it. And this is where tone woods and pickup differences and all that come out. Even if you can't always pick it out in the mix, like the mix isn't the final say. Like, I mean, you might record a song and in the mix you can't tell if you use this guitar or that guitar. You might not be able to tell. But you get playing live, and it's not about the acoustic sound of the guitar in the room, because you can't hear the guitar. You can't hear I can't, you can't hear the pick. You can't hear that motor in a way, PA in front of you. You're not going to hear that. If you got in-ears, you're not going to hear that. So that's taken out of the equation. It's like at that point, you're just hearing the speakers, right? And the better the speakers, the more honest they're going to be with you. And Barrett, if you're not just subscribed to his channel, he's probably he's got a lot of extra, like a lot of great things, and a lot of what he says, what he does, and I've been trying it myself, is play dry, guitar. Like I play the guitar unplugged 99% of the time, because usually there's people in the house that can't play that, right? So I'll play it like that. But then he says play it with a little bit of gain, just so you can get to hear, used to the distortion. But he's also, like you said, you got to get used to playing loud. Maybe he didn't say it exactly like that, but that's what he was getting at, is that you got to get, whatever it is, whatever conditions you're going to be playing on the stage, that's what you got to get used to, right? So I don't know if I'm going to be playing festivals or anything like that this summer. I can't, I'm still working on getting people together. But if I do, I want to put on a really good show. And I want people to say, that guy didn't just play a crazy guitar solo, he played it well. Like he heard, every note's, I'll work on my sweeps or whatever, but whatever. So you hear every note. I want to make sure you hear every note, all the notes counted for. And I can't get there from here without practicing it. So work on getting yourself clean, like real clean playing at high stage concert volume, live volume, whatever you want to call it. Then bring it to the band, and then you'll be that much better. So that's just what I used to do years ago. That's what I'm doing now. Obviously I've adapted new techniques and stuff like that with picking and better picks. I don't play with floppy picks anymore. What a disaster. That's a regular floppy pick. Maybe like for the jazz guys and the country guys, those picks will be fine. Because sometimes you want a little bit more. You don't want such a sterile note. Sometimes you want that. whatever, you know. Whereas if you do it with the, a lot more sterile, but you hear every note. You know. So anyway, that's what I got for today. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Have a nice look at my Jackson Rhodes RRT5 Flying V. What an incredible guitar, really. Can't wait to... This thing needs to be on the stage. Mr. Vicious, as I call him. Mr. Vicious Maximus... what was it? What was the name I came up with? Mr. Vicious Maximus Thrashius. Yeah, Mr. Vicious Maximus Thrashius. Great name for a guitar. Great name. But that there, my friends, insane. There you go.